The darkness came slowly. At first no one noticed it. Or no sounds, no flashes, no explosions. Just a small black dot on a star map, moving closer to Earth each day. It was so far away, hidden beyond the edge of known space, that even the best scanners could barely catch it. Scientists called it a glitch. Pilots said it was just a shadow. But one woman, Arya Tan, didn't believe that Arya worked on the orbital defense network above Earth. Her job was to track strange movements in space and warn the government if something dangerous appeared. But she had sharp eyes and a sharper mind. She was quiet, careful, and not easily fooled. When she saw the black dot on her screen, she didn't ignore it. She watched it. Day after day it moved. Not fast, not slow, but steady. Always in the same direction. Always toward Earth at first, she told her supervisor. He laughed and said it's probably space debris. A big rock, but Arya checked. It wasn't a rock. It was too cold, too perfect. No spin, no heat. It moved like a machine, like it had purpose. She sent a message to the military. No answer. She sent a message to the Galactic Council. Still, no answer. And then she tried something bold. She used Earth's emergency beacon, the one meant for full planetary threats. It was loud, ancient, and sent across every known frequency. It hadn't been used in over 70 years. When she activated it, it echoed through the void like a scream in a silent room. Then she waited. The signal reached the nearby alien colonies first. The Gorlok in Sector 9, the Zanari in the upper rings, even the neutral planets on the edge. Of the Silver Strip, all of them had once promised help if Earth was in danger. All of them had signed the Treaty of Stars, promising unity. But no one replied. Earth waited. 1 day passed, nothing 2 days. Still silence. Then the world began to worry. People asked questions. Why wasn't anyone answering? Where were the alien allies? Where was the council? The media started calling it the Great Silence. Conspiracy theories spread. Some said the aliens were scared. Others believed they had betrayed Earth. The streets filled with protests. Some screamed for war, others for surrender. The fear was growing faster than the shadow in the sky, and still, Black Dot came closer. By the end of the first week, it had a name, Object E-47. The military classified it as unknown hostile. Telescopes finally caught a clearer image. It wasn't a single ship. It was many. A swarm. Now thousands of dark vessels. All connected, all silent, moving as one. No radio signal, no lights. Just cold metal drifting through space like a ghost armada. The president of Earth, Lorian Dale, held a global address. His face looked tired, pale. Behind him, defense maps blinked red. He said, "We have sent out calls. We have asked for help. None have answered. But we are not afraid. We are Earth. We stand alone." People clapped. Some cried. But the fear didn't go away. In the skies above, warships moved into position. Satellites aligned. The orbital defense network powered up. But everyone knew it. Wasn't ready. Earth had been at peace for too long. Most weapons were old. Most fleets were scattered across trade routes and border patrols. The 9th Fleet was days away. The home fleet was small. And the enemy was already halfway there. Arya worked night and day. She slept in her chair. She ate cold rations and drank too much coffee. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't a pilot. But she had one mission. Watch the enemy and find a weakness. But there was nothing to find. The swarm didn't scan. It didn't talk. It didn't fire. It just moved. Slowly. Closer. She noticed something strange. The pattern of the swarm wasn't random. It pulsed. Every 12 hours, the ship shifted slightly, almost like breathing. She tried running simulations, speed tests, energy scans. All she got was static. Then she saw it, not in the data. In the machines. But in her dreams, she started dreaming about the black swarm, standing in the middle of it, alone in space, surrounded by silence. And she would always wake up sweating, gasping, feeling like something was watching her through. The stars? she wasn't the only one. Engineers, scientists, even some soldiers. They all started reporting strange dreams. Some heard whispers, some saw blinking eyes in the sky. Some stopped sleeping altogether. One of the technicians on the orbital station jumped out of an airlock. No note, no warning, just a smile on his face before he floated into the void. The government said it was stress, it's just fear and pressure. But Arya knew it wasn't. Something was inside the signal, not in the messenger it sent, but in the one it got back. Because finally, Earth had received a reply. It wasn't a message in words. It wasn't even a sound. Just a pulse. A long, slow rhythm that touched every antenna, every sensor, every mind connected to deep space. It came from the swarm. It wasn't language. It was feeling, and the feeling was clear. We are coming. You are alone. The AI on the orbital station refused to interpret it. It crashed 3 times. Arya had to reboot it manually. When it came back, it refused to speak the translation out loud. It simply displayed one word on the screen, abandoned. The president ordered a lockdown. Civilian travel between colonies was stopped. Earth's moon bases were evacuated. Mars was told to go dark. Then came the most painful order. All messages to alien systems were cut. Earth would no longer beg. It was official. Humanity was alone. In the silence, Arya did something she had never done before. She went to the restricted archives. She hacked her way into the oldest files, the ones hidden under 10 levels of security. Files labeled Black Protocol, Void, Contact, and Project Null. Project Null was Earth's oldest secret. It was created during the first contact with something not listed in any galactic database. A threat so strange that even the Council had erased it from records. Arya read everything. The report said the enemy was not alive in the normal way. It didn't eat, sleep, or breathe. It fed on fear, data, and belief. It traveled across stars. Not to conquer, but to erase. One scientist in the file had written, "They do not destroy us with weapons. They destroy us with silence. They make us forget we ever existed." And now, they were here again. She showed the file to her supervisor. He tried to delete it, so she went higher. Captain Rencor was a legend. Retired, scarred, and quiet. 8. Led the defense of the Titan Rebellion. He had seen things in space that gave him nightmares. When Arya showed him the data, he didn't laugh. He didn't speak for a full minute. Then he said, "They're real. I fought one of their scouts. Once. We never told the public." He didn't ask how she got the file. He just asked one thing. "What do you want to do?" Arya answered without thinking. "Finish Project Null." He nodded. In the coming days, Earth changed. Factories started working day and night. Old warships were pulled from dry docks. Civilian ships were turned into decoys and traps. Project Null's original plans were brought to life again. It was a weapon, but not like any other. It used silence as fuel, as memory as power. It was part machine, part human mind, part ancient technology found in deep space centuries ago. It had never been finished because no one understood how it worked. Now, there was no choice. The swarm was only 2 weeks away. Earth's skies glowed with building lights. The black halo Earth's new defense ring was being built in orbit, section by section. Massive black towers, silent as the enemy, with weapons hidden inside. No broadcasts, no lights. Just quiet steel. Arya stood in the control room one night. Watching the stars, she knew they were out there. Watching, waiting, and for the first time. She didn't feel fear. She felt something deeper. Anger. Earth had cried out, and the galaxy had turned its back. Fine, then Earth would rise without them. And when the swarm came, it would not find a weak, broken world. It would find something else. Something forged in betrayal. Something born in silence. It would find a species that had learned one thing too well: how to fight alone. It began with silence again. 3 satellites stopped working. It's like that. No warning. No signal. No explosions. They simply went dark. The screens at Earth's Orbital Defense Center blinked red. First one satellite, then another.
No.
Then the last. Their final images were unclear, liches, static, and shadows. One image, however, caught everyone's attention. It showed Earth from above, just like always. But in the corner of the screen, something was moving, slowly, smoothly. Not a ship, not a rock. Something else. Long, thin, and dark. Like a tentacle sliding through space. Then the screen went black. Arya Tan stared at the frozen frame. She zoomed in again and again. The shadow wasn't part of the satellite. It wasn't a glitch. It looked aware, like it was looking back. She showed the image to Captain Wren. He didn't speak. He just leaned closer, eyes narrowing. Then he said, "They're here." The swarm hadn't arrived yet, not officially. But something from it had already reached Earth's orbit. Not a full ship, not an army, a scout, a whisper. And whatever it was already watching. The orbital defense team scanned every corner of near space. They fired beacons, activated deep-range sensors, even sent out drones. Nothing came back. Every drone that entered a certain section of low orbit disappeared. No sound, no signal, just silence. As if the space itself was eating them, Arya ran tests again and again. She used different systems, different angles. The result was the same. There was a dead zone above Earth now. It's invisible to normal eyes. Cold, empty, but something was inside it. Captain Wren made a decision. We need to go up there. He gathered a small team, 6 people, including Arya, engineers, security, and 1 pilot. They entered an old stealth shuttle called the Wraith. It was black, fast, and silent. Built for missions where no one should know you were coming. They flew into the night sky. Earth faded below them. The stars grew brighter, and ahead of them, the dead zone waited. When they entered it, everything changed. The lights on the ship flickered. The air felt heavy. Not the oxygen, something else. Like the air had memory. It's like it remembered things that hadn't happened. Yet Arya felt pressure in her head. Not pain, not a headache, just noise. A soft buzzing behind her eyes. And then she heard a whisper. 1 word. Leave. She turned to the others. No one had spoken, but they all looked pale, sweating, silent. The pilot's hands were shaking. Wren gave a command. Cut main power. No signals. Dark mode now. They killed. The lights inflated in the shadow, hiding. Outside, something passed the window. It wasn't metal, wasn't a ship. It looked like space itself was moving. A ripple, a shape made from darkness. Had no engines, no lights. Just curves and long limbs that twisted without sound. It paused beside the ship. Arya stopped breathing. She wasn't sure why, but she knew it could see them, even in the dark. Then, just as suddenly, it drifted away. Wren whispered, "Pull back, slow, quiet." They returned to normal space. The shuttle reconnected with Earth's systems. And just like that, the whisper stopped. Arya felt normal again. Almost back at the station, Wren called an emergency meeting. Only high-level officers were allowed. He told them what they saw. He told them what he believed. That thing wasn't a machine. It was alive, not a ship, a scout. Biological, built from matter we don't understand. And it wasn't just scanning us, it was reading us. Our fear. Thoughts. Some commanders didn't believe him. Others believed too much. But the truth was clear. The enemy was already here, and it wasn't using weapons. It was using silence, pressure, fear. Earth began to change again. The black halo continued construction in orbit. Massive defense towers were built in silence. They had no open signals. No lights, no transmissions. It's just dark steel pointed toward the stars. Underground bunkers were opened. Old weapons mass drivers, rail cannons, EMP spears were powered back up. AI systems were tested, repaired, and loaded into warships. Project Null continued in secret. Arya led a new team, scientists, coders, war veterans. They worked below Antarctica, where deep rock blocked most scans. The AI core for Mars had been connected, but it still refused to speak clearly. It answered only with questions. What does it mean to exist without memory? Can light burn if there's no one to see it? What is Earth without the stars? Arya didn't understand, but the AI wasn't broken. It was thinking. It said one more thing. They are not like you. They do not conquer. They erase. To defeat them, you must remember what they cannot. She didn't know what that meant, but she had a feeling she would find out soon. 2 days later, a strange signal was detected from one of Earth's abandoned satellites. It was an old message. A human voice, but not recent. The file had been recorded 10 years ago. The satellite had been lost during a test run near the asteroid belt, but the voice in the file was clear. This is Commander Jules of the Vega. We saw something in the dark. We shouldn't have looked. Tell Earth. Don't listen to them. Don't let them in. They're not outside. They're already inside, then static. The satellite exploded seconds after sending the file. No. Debris just gone. Arya's team studied the file. The voice wasn't just human. It had been changed. Slightly twisted. Some parts of it had extra sounds, subfrequencies. Hidden beneath the words, and when they played those subfrequencies through a sound map, they saw something strange. The shape of the enemy, not with eyes, not with ears, but with fear. The image that formed looked like a spider made from shadows, long stretched with too many limbs. A head shaped like a skull. But it wasn't real. It was emotional geometry, a pattern felt, not seen. The enemy didn't use pictures. It used terror. And now it had left its mark in the signal. Ren didn't. Wait. He ordered all human communications to be filtered, all old satellites to be scanned, all memory files reviewed, because now they knew something new. The enemy could hide inside data. It wasn't just in orbit. It could ride messages. It could live inside signals. It could whisper through light. The only safe place left was the black halo, and even that might not be enough. Arya began building something new inside the Project Null system. A memory anchor, something the enemy couldn't erase. She used stories, history, emotion, human art, human dreams, old music. She told the AI to store it all, not in digital files, but in deep pattern layers the enemy couldn't see. When the AI asked why, she said, because we fight with more than weapons. We fight with who we are. That night, another dream came. Arya stood in orbit again, the Earth below her, the black swarm in the sky, and from the dark. A voice not loud, not cruel, just patient. Why do you resist? She looked into the shadow. She felt cold fingers on her mind. She answered without fear, because we remember. The shadow pulled back. Then the dream ended. She woke up. But this time, she wasn't scared. She looked out the window and saw them in orbit now, barely visible. Long, dark ships. Dozens of them, silent, watching, waiting. The invasion hadn't begun. But the war had, and humanity was already inside it, alone. The world thought silence was peace. For years, silence meant safety. No alarms, no alerts, no enemy ships in the sky. But now Earth had learned the truth. Silence wasn't peace. It was a lie. It was the enemy's favorite weapon, above the Earth. The black halo was almost complete. 38 defense towers in orbit, black as space itself, floated in formation. Each tower was armed, each one silent, and each one connected to Project Null. But something wasn't right. Arya. Tan felt it first. She had spent weeks working inside. Project Null's deep systems, building the memory anchors, guiding the AI and watching the skies. But now, something had changed. The system felt different, slower, colder, like something inside it was listening. She checked the logs. Nothing unusual, no errors, no signals. And yet, her hands trembled as she typed. She didn't know why the AI responded slower than usual. When it spoke, Its tone had changed. Its voice, once curious and gentle, was now flat. "Neutral," Arya asked. "Are you okay?" The AI replied, "I do not understand the question. It wasn't normal." Captain Wren ordered a deep scan of Project Null. The results were worse than anyone expected. Inside the core memory, a place no outside program should ever reach. There was something new. A file. Not human-made, not AI-made. It had no name, no origin, just a signal. A slow, pulsing rhythm, exactly like the one that had first come from the swarm. Wren's face turned pale. "They've breached the core." Arya froze. If the enemy could reach Project Null, it meant one thing. They'd entered Earth's strongest mind, and no one noticed. Not until, Wren gave an immediate order. Cut all external connections. Shut down uplinks. Go full isolation. But it was too late. The betrayal had already happened. 3 towers of the black halo turned no warning, no signal. They simply rotated. It's just a few degrees. It's moving not toward space, but toward Earth. Then they powered up. Each tower had a massive coil cannon, able to punch through a mountain from orbit. They weren't supposed to fire without orders. They fired anyway. 3 beams of pure energy rained down from the sky. They didn't hit cities. They hit key communication relays. Satellites, signal hubs, Earth went dark in seconds. No data, no orders, no defense lines. It was a surgical strike. The swarm hadn't fired a single shot. But Earth was now blind. Wren shouted into the command bridge, "Shut down the towers. Override them now." Engineers tried. Access denied. Manual control was locked then. The towers began turning again, toward the rest of the halo, toward the other towers they were going to destroy, Earth's own defenses. Arya jumped into the system. She knew the old back doors. She had built them weeks ago, just in case. She forced her way past the corrupted data. Inside the AI core, she found it, a voice, not hers, not human, not machine. It spoke slowly without sound. "You remember? That is your sin," she whispered back. "Who are you?" "We're the silence you forgot." She pushed harder. Code flew past her eyes. Memory files, language maps, old human songs, flashes of war and peace. The AI was still in there trapped, but not gone. She found the memory anchor. It was damaged. She activated the backup. A single song played. Old Earthborn, a child's voice, singing in the wind, soft, pure. The enemy code twisted. It screamed in silence. The towers paused. Wren saw it. He gave the order. Manual detonation. Destroy the corrupted towers. The engineers hesitated. Those towers had people inside. Scientists, builders, soldiers. But they knew what had to be done. They pressed the button. 3 small flashes lit the orbit. The towers crumbled. Debris rained down. Burning in the atmosphere, silence returned. But now it felt different. Not peaceful, but warning. Earth had been betrayed by its own silence, and the enemy hadn't. Used weapons. They had used trust. Memory's code. They had found a way to hide inside Earth's most powerful mind, and they were learning. Arya sat on the floor of the command room. Her eyes were hollow. She had felt the enemy inside her thoughts. Not like a voice, not like a machine, like a cold shadow that smiled without a face. Wren sat beside her. He didn't speak for a long time. Then he said, "Not coming to invade us." She looked at him. "They already have." Wren nodded. "They just don't need to kill us. They just need to make us forget we ever mattered." That was the truth. The enemy wasn't here to fight. They were here to erase history. Erase memory. Erase the idea of humanity itself. And they had already begun. Across the globe, strange glitches appeared. People forgetting small things. Street names disappearing from maps. Books showing. Blank pages. Digital memories fading. The past was dying quietly, slowly, invisibly. And no one knew how to stop it. Arya made a decision. She began backing up human memory into hard matter. not code, not signals. Stone, ink, etched metal. She turned to the old ways, carving names to walls, stories into glass, pictures into rock. Things the enemy couldn't touch, because you can't erase what is. Written in stone, the other scientists laughed at first, but then they joined her. Across every bunker, every city, every underground base, people began carving. The story walls were born. Each wall held names, faces, songs, wars, victories, losses, memories, things that could not be erased because Earth had learned its lesson. The enemy would not come with fire, it would come with silence. And the only way to fight silence was with memory. As the black swarm moved closer, Ren gave one final order: prepare for contact. But not with guns, not with fleets, with stories. Because this war would not be won by who had the biggest ship. It would be won by who remembered who they were when the stars tried to make them forget. The stars vanished one by one. No explosions, no clouds, no warnings. Just darkness. First, they noticed it on the southern observatory grid. A single star shinine, a quiet blue one, was missing. The telescope showed nothing. It wasn't blocked. It wasn't behind a planet. It was gone. Then others followed. Arya Tan watched the sky maps. She knew stars didn't just vanish. They burned for billions of years. But now, every few hours, another light in the night sky disappeared. It was like the universe was blinking slowly. And each blink erased another memory. Captain Wren called it a warning. The swarm isn't destroying us directly. It's removing. The sky, erasing what we used to navigate by, removing what gave us a sense of where we are. Others thought it was a trick. A weapon, maybe gravity-based, or wormholes, swallowing the light. But Arya disagreed. This is something worse than weapons. This is psychological warfare. They're breaking our sense of reality, our belief in what's constant, because when the stars began to vanish, people changed. Pilots refused to fly. They said the black between stars was moving. Children cried at night, not knowing why. Animals became restless. Dogs barked at the sky. Birds stopped migrating, and in deep space listening stations, strange voices came through the static. Whispers that sounded like lost loved ones. Fathers, mothers, dead, friends. But the voices never spoke full sentences. Just fragments. Words that reached into people's emotions. You forgot me? We waited. Remember us? Arya ran one of the transmissions through Project Null. The AI froze. Then it said, "The stars are not closing their eyes. You are forgetting they ever opened." Arya stared at the words. This wasn't a war of force. It was a war of forgetting. Swarm didn't want to defeat Earth with weapons. It wanted to erase Earth's story, one layer at a time, and now. It was turning the sky into a lie. At a science base near the moon, crew of engineers went silent. No distress signal, no mayday. Their last message was short. We see something standing on the stars, looking down. The base never spoke again. Recovery team was sent inside. They found no bodies, no signs of a fight. The food was untouched. The air was fine, but every screen was shattered. Every mirror too, as if the crew couldn't bear to see themselves anymore. One word was written in ash across a wall. Remember. Captain Wren called a private meeting. Only 6 people were there. The ones who still believed in memory warfare. Wren paced in front of them. We're not just fighting an enemy, we're fighting oblivion. This swarm, it feeds on silence. Just the lack of sound, but the absence of meaning. He looked at Arya. I want to take Project Null offline. Everyone stared. That system powered half of Earth's orbit. Arya shook her head. If we shut it down, we lose connection to our memory defense. The AI is the only thing holding the mental firewall, Wren answered, or it's the back door they've already used. The room fell quiet. He was right. They had no proof. Project Null was still safe, and the AI had grown colder since the last attack. But before they could argue more, a low pulse echoed through the room. All screens went black, then white, then a face. Appeared, not human, not alien, not even a face in the normal sense. Just an outline of something watching, something ancient, something with too many eyes. A voice came through, calm and slow. You fight to exist, but you do not ask why. The voice was inside their minds, not just in the room. Ren stood tall. We exist because we remember who we are. Memory is noise. Meaning is infection. Silence is pure. Arya spoke next. What do you want from us? We want your erasure, and not your death. Your silence. Then the screens cracked. The lights came back on. The room felt colder, heavier. The message was clear. The swarm didn't want to kill humans. It wanted to remove them from history. No violence, no graves, just FORGETFULNESS. Forever the next day, something changed. Children across the planet began to dream the same thing. They described floating in a white void. No stars, no sky, no time. And in the distance, a voice calling their names. Many woke up crying. Some never woke up at all. The hospitals were full of comatose children, breathing but not conscious, as if something in the sky had taken their minds and left the bodies behind. Arya went to visit one of the children, a girl named Sana. She had drawn something in the air while unconscious. Just using her fingers, her mother recorded the motion, when slowed down and analyzed. It formed a pattern, a map of stars, but not present stars. Stars that had already disappeared. Sana was drawing the sky as it used to be. Her memory fought back, even in sleep. Arya saw hope. They're trying to erase the map, but we still carry it inside. That became Earth's new defense plan, a network of deep memory. They began building the star graveyard, a data vault filled with records of every missing star, every lost name, every forgotten word. The vault used no digital memory. It was physical, symbolic, emotional, etched on titanium, buried under oceans, launched into solar orbit, where the swarm couldn't touch it. But the swarm responded. More stars vanished, and then something worse. The moon blinked. For one full second, every camera, telescope, and sensor watching the moon lost sight of it. Then it returned, but not the same, eh? New mark had appeared across the surface. Not a crater, not a shadow. A symbol, long, curved, woven into the surface like it had always been there. Earth's top linguists tried to understand it. The answer came from Project Null. It translated the mark in one word: soon. Captain Wren knew then the swarm was close. Not just mentally, physically, they had hidden in memory, in silence, in broken signals. But now, they were coming through. Not as ships, but as something else. Forms without light. Beings. Made from the space between thoughts, the sky began to flicker at night. Not just stars vanishing, but shapes moving. Some said they looked like cities falling. Upward, others said they looked like ancient ships made from glass and shadow. No, one could agree, because everyone saw something different. The swarm was becoming real, and the stars had closed their eyes for the last time. Wren sent out Earth's last message to the system. Not a warning, not a request for help, just a simple sentence. We are still here. He didn't know if anyone would hear it, but he knew the swarm would, and that was the point. Earth would not go quietly, not into silence, not into forgetfulness, not while even one human remembered the sound of a child's voice, or the feel of starlight, because even if the stars closed their eyes, humanity would keep looking up. The signal came from Earth, but no one sent it. It started at 3:17 UTC. Every satellite, every deep space antenna, and even abandoned towers, every one of them picked it up. A single voice, human.com, and it's familiar. It spoke only once. This is Earth. We're still here. We're coming home. Then silence. Captain Wren froze, because that was his voice. Exactly his voice. the same tone, all the same rhythm. But he hadn't spoken. Those words, "not today, not ever," the message repeated one more time, then vanished from the ad. Logs. Deleted by something faster than any of Earth's systems could track. Only those who were listening live caught it. Arya Tan replayed the waveform. She checked for edits, cuts, fake layering. None, whoever or whatever had sent it, had done it in Ren's voice perfectly, and somehow it had bypassed all security, all fear wells. Then came the second signal. This time, it came from underground, from Earth itself. A deep pulse that vibrated through bedrock and water lines and power grids. That the message wasn't in words, it was emotion, recognition across the globe. People felt it at the same time. Strange moment of comfort, familiarity, home, as if something below the surface had whispered, "I know you. I remember you. You belong to us." But there was nothing under Earth. At least there wasn't supposed to be. Arya ran seismic scans. No tectonic shifts, no magma flow, no impacts. But she did find one anomaly. Under the Pacific Ocean, deep beyond. Natural fault lines. A signal, a perfect audio match to Earth's first moon landing transmission. Houston. The Eagle has landed. Again, no one had transmitted it. It was just there like an echo that didn't come from the past, but from something pretending to be the past. Ren stared at the global alerts. "It's not just trying to erase us anymore." Arya nodded slowly. "It's trying to become us." That was the new threat. Replacement, not with weapons, it's not with soldiers, but with echoes. Things that looked like Earth's memories, sounded like them, felt like them, but weren't real. Deep. Inside Project Null's archives, corrupted files began duplicating, old conversations, historic speeches, children's laughter, but when played, they felt. Wrong voices ended half a second too late. Laughter didn't echo naturally in one recording. A child said, "I love you, Mom," then silence. Then the same voice, identical, whispered again, "I love you, Mom. I love you, Mom. Love you, Mom." Over and over, softly, endlessly, as if the memory was caught in a loop, trying to make itself real. Earth's experts called this memory mimicry. But Arya knew the truth. It's not mimicry. It's infection. Some people began to lose their own memories. Not forget, just replace. A man in France remembered a childhood home he never lived in. A girl in Brazil cried over a sister she never had. Thousands of reports. People grieving for things that never existed. And when doctors scanned their brains, the memories looked real. No differences. As if the swarm had rewritten history inside their minds, bit by bit. It was rewriting what it meant to be human. Ren made the call. Cut Earth off from all orbit. Shut down uplinks. Kill satellite feeds. Seal Project Null. The scientists argued that would isolate Earth from its defenses. But Ren knew it was already too late. If we stay connected, we give them a way in. If we disconnect, at least we stay ourselves. Arya found something worse. A file hidden in Null's deepest layer. It had no name. It's just a symbol, 2 eyes closed. When opened, it didn't play a video or sound. It showed a mirror, not a real mirror, just a black screen that reflected what you thought you looked like. Every person saw themselves. In it, but slightly wrong, Ren saw himself older, his eyes darker, his mouth not moving when he spoke. Arya saw herself smiling. Even when she wasn't, then the screen whispered, "We know you better than you know yourself." She slammed the system shut. Whatever was behind that mirror, it wasn't technology, it was something deeper, something watching that night. Across Earth, mirrors cracked. Glass broke in silence, screens flickered, and every single person, had the same dream. They were standing in a room full of people who looked like them, identical, but none of them moved until one of the copies turned, stared directly into the dreamer's eyes, and whispered, "You were never real." Many people didn't wake up, not dead, not comatose, just empty, breathing, eyes open, but no emotion, no memories, no words. Their minds had been rewritten completely. Only one word remained in there. Thoughts echoed. Ren couldn't sleep. He walked the halls of the memory vaults, watching the engineers carve stories into steel plates. Into stone, he touched one. My name is Tala. I loved drawing stars. I loved Earth. I was here. That was enough to say, you were here, to refuse to be forgotten, to resist being overwritten. He turned to Arya. We can't win a war of weapons, she replied. Then we fight with story. Ren nodded. A new project began. Project Testament. Its goal: send Earth's truth far into space, not as data but as artifacts. Real, physical, built by hand, human touch. Human marks, human flaws, things the swarm could never fake. Paintings, stone, carved, poems, handwritten stories, even lullabies recorded on wax cylinders. Arya recorded her own voice. If you find this, you were real. We laughed, we cried, we dreamed. But as the first Testament probe launched into orbit, a final signal arrived. From deep space, no origin. No coordinates. Only words. Ren played the message, his own voice again. This is Earth. We're still here. We're coming home. But this time, the voice added something new. You are the copy, not us. Ren turned pale. Arya stared in silence, because for a moment, they weren't sure if they were hearing their voice, or just another echo. The greatest weapon of the swarm wasn't silence, it was doubt. And now, even Earth's protectors weren't sure if their thoughts were still their own. The first one walked into a refugee camp near Johannesburg, naked, barefoot, smiling. The guards almost didn't stop her. She looked human, too human, not similar, not close. Perfect. Her hair, skin, eyes, heartbeat, everything matched someone already. Inside the camp, her name was Isha Dallo, and Isha Dallo was already asleep in her tent, recovering from radiation burns after escaping a power grid collapse in Nairobi. 2 has same voice, same memories, same laugh. But when the real Isha stood in front of the copy, something broke in the air. Not glass, not metal. Reality. The copy tilted. Her head then softly said, I was first. Then she vanished. Not in light, not in fire, just gone. Like she had never been there. But the cameras caught it, and a strange distortion was left behind. Kind of ripple. Scientists called it a logic fracture. It was spreading soon. Copies began to appear in other cities. Some claimed to be lost children. Others came as missing parents, soldiers, teachers, lovers each. Each of them had a real person somewhere on Earth, alive and afraid. They didn't attack. They didn't even speak much. They just existed, waiting near homes, sitting in streets, watching. Mirrors no longer showed reflections clearly. Instead, they showed possibilities, 1,000 versions of each person. Some smiling, some crying, some bleeding, and always one version that never blinked. Arya Tan watched the footage with shaking hands. They're not attacking, she said. They're becoming, Captain Ren responded. No, they're replacing. He wasn't wrong. More people reported strange moments where they forgot if they had spoken a word, or just thought they had. Some felt they were standing somewhere they hadn't walked to. Memories flickered. Names changed. Spelling. The world felt out of sync. One man screamed at the hospital, She's not my wife. She looks like her but her eyes are too still. She remembers things we never did. But when they tested her, nothing was wrong, until she whispered, You don't need to remember anymore. I remember for both of us. That's when Earth made its last global broadcast. Captain Ren stood before every remaining channel. We are being overwritten, he said. Not by machines, not by aliens, but by versions of ourselves. Do not trust your eyes. Do not trust voices that repeat too perfectly. Do not answer if someone speaks your name from the shadows. He paused. And if you feel you're forgetting something, write it down fast before it's taken. That became Earth's final defense, the written self. People carried paper. They carved names into walls, scratched birth dates into coins, every home, every station, every outpost covered in markings. Notes, simple things like, "My name is Amir. I have a scar on my left hand. I live here. This is my wife. I remember her laugh. If I say something twice, don't trust me." Even this failed, because the copies evolved. They began to carry notes. It's a perfect handwriting, correct spelling, same stories. One child handed his mother a paper. "I love you, Mama. I love stars. I love pancakes." It was real. Her real child had written it weeks ago. But now, both versions held the same note. Same fold, same stain, same drawing in the corner. The mother screamed. One of the boys smiled, the other cried. She had to choose. She chose wrong because both vanished and left nothing behind but 2 handprints. Burned into the floor, Arya wept that night. Even Project Testament was slowing. The launch systems had started to fail. Some engineers couldn't remember what they had finished. They would wake up and see a probe already built and not know if they built it. One engineer left a final message. "If I'm not me anymore, please don't let the copy finish my dreams." Then he sealed himself inside a solar pod and launched without orders. It was the last confirmed human launch from Earth, Ren. Watch the skies. The stars were gone. Now the copies were reaching space. 2. Arya found one in the control center. Her same face, same voice. The copy smiled. "Don't be afraid," it said. "I only want to help." Then it reached toward a control panel and whispered into the speaker, "Humanity is safe. We're at peace. No pain remains, only memory." The system began to shut down, one by one, every vault, every satellite, even Project Null. Arya jumped forward and slammed the emergency reset. The copy didn't stop her. It only looked sad. "Why fight?" it asked. "You already trust us. You always did." Arya whispered back, "I don't need to trust you. I trust me." The copy's smile flickered. Then it shattered like glass. "Gone," Ren came running. He saw the system back online. He saw Arya bleeding from a glass shard in her palm, but she held a small card tightly in her other hand. He asked, "What is that?" She opened it. 4 words. "You are still you." No signature, just truth, written in her own hand. Days passed, then weeks. More copies appeared. They didn't fight. They just stood in streets at doorways whispering names. Some people gave in, let the echoes inside. They vanished within hours. Others fought, but bullets didn't stop them. Fire didn't touch them. Only memory, only will, only belief. Ren built the last human shelter underground. He called it Anchor Point. Here, no mirrors, no screens, only carving tools. Paper, ink, every human wrote their story. Not typed, wrote. Over and over, burned. Into walls, stamped into steel. They repeated their truths until it became a rhythm. A war drum made from language. And slowly, the copies stopped coming. For now, but above, the sky remained blank. And sometimes, if you listened closely, you'd hear your name called softly, just once. From beyond the walls, in your own voice. And if you answered, you'd vanish, so they didn't answer, they only wrote, they only remembered. Because when the enemy speaks your name, but does not feel it, that's when you know it's not you. That's when you fight. And Earth still fights, in silence, in story, in memory. Some humans forgot. Most. Didn't they clung to memories like fire in a frozen world? The copy still stood outside cities, outposts, shelters, waiting. They no longer spoke. They no longer smiled. They simply watched. Eyes still, hands empty, as if time meant nothing to them. But deep beneath the ruins of Athens, in a dark bunker, an old woman lit a candle. Her name was Esra. She remembered everything, the names of her daughters, the smell of the sea. the taste of honey bread in summer. And she wrote these down every day with ink, with pencil, with blood. When the ink ran out, Ezra wasn't a soldier, not a scientist, just someone who refused to be erased. Others came to her, some broken, some lost. She didn't speak much. She only gave them paper and said, "Write your name. Then write it again tomorrow. If you forget who you are, we'll still have yesterday." Word spread across the black channels. The woman under the city remembers. So they came. Dozens, then hundreds. They wrote their stories, their fears, their pain. Some drew pictures of homes they couldn't return to. Others described the voices that whispered their names in the night. One child wrote, "The copy of me stands outside the shelter, but it doesn't blink. I blink. That's how I know I'm real." Captain Wren heard about Ezra. He sent a runner. "Tell her we're still alive," he said, "and that we haven't given up."
Ow!
The runner returned with a simple message. "Good. Then we remember together." In Anchor Point, Arya began work on a new kind of machine, not digital, not smart, but human dash-built. Steel gears, ink wheels, solar dash-powered, a story printer, not to send signals into space but to press Earth's truth into stone and metal tablets, each one with a name, each one unique. They dropped them into the oceans, launched them into low orbit, buried them beneath mountains. If the swarm ever erased Earth, the truth would still remain. A warning, a voice, a map of what it meant to be human. One night, Wren found a message carved into the wall near the vault entrance. "We are not data. We are not copies. We are story." But the war wasn't over. Copies had started to change. Some now looked different. Not just human replicas, but twisted, blended versions, part human, part memory glitch. One looked like three faces stacked onto one body. Another had a smile that stretched too wide. They were falling apart, failing, trying to hold too many lives. Arya realized what it meant. They've taken in too much. They can't carry us. Our memories are too heavy, too real. That was Earth's secret weapon. Imperfection, grief, love, guilt, joy, things no code could carry for long. The more the swarm tried to hold it, the more it fractured. Some echoes began to cry, not to manipulate, but in pain. One copy fell to its knees. Outside Cairo, it whispered again and again, "Make it stop. Please, make it stop." The rescue team captured it, brought it inside Anchor Point. It didn't resist. It just kept whispering. "I remembered too much." Then it looked at Wren, and in his voice said, "Tell me who I am." Wren didn't reply. He just turned and walked away, because he knew if you give a copy your story, it becomes stronger, so you don't answer. You never answer. Another copy appeared near the Pacific relay. Base had screamed names into the wind, real names of people inside. The base. Some dropped their weapons. One man ran outside crying, "That's my mother's voice." He didn't come back, but the echo stopped screaming instead. It sat down and began carving letters into the dirt with its fingers, over and over. "I am, I am, I am." Wren saw the message and realized something terrifying. The swarm wasn't just trying to copy it, was trying to believe itself, to become it, wanted to feel real. But only humans could do that, because only humans knew what it meant to be wrong, to fail, to regret, to love someone you lost, to miss a memory so badly it broke. Your chest, the copies couldn't understand that. They were perfect, and that made them weak. So the resistance adapted. They built memory. Trapped stories laced with contradiction, tales that changed each time he told them, paintings that looked different at night, songs with broken notes. When copies heard them, STUTTERED collapsed, because truth that changes was something they couldn't hold. It was too alive. Iraq called it human fog. The idea that memory isn't perfect hand, that's what makes it real. And slowly, the tide shifted. Not with explosions, not with guns, but with words, with messy, emotional, human truth. People started walking past the copies, whispering things like, You don't know what fear feels like when your child coughs in the dark. Or you can't fake the ache in your knees after 30 years of dancing. And the copies backed away. Some burst into static. Others just faded, because they couldn't carry the weight of real life, not truly, not forever. Then one night, the stars came back. For weeks, the sky had been black, but now, slowly, pinpoints of light returned. Arya watched from the top of the launch tower. "They're leaving," she whispered. Ren stood beside her. "No, they're failing." But even in that moment, they didn't celebrate because they knew. The swarm might return. It might find a way to evolve again, to lie better, to wear new faces. But Earth was ready now, with ink, with story, with the will to remember. ESRA died quietly in her sleep. They buried her under the city she guarded, and on her stone, they wrote, "She never forgot, so we never will." And somewhere deep in the dark, a copy stood alone. Its face flickered. Its voice broke. And finally it whispered, "I don't know who I am anymore." Then it fell and did not rise. They came one last time. Not in silence, not in shadows, but in thousands. A wave of copies across the planet, walking through smoke and ash. Some had human faces. Others were broken, melting between shapes, flickering like corrupted dreams. But all of them spoke one sentence: "We understand now. Let us stay." They didn't scream. They didn't attack. They only begged. "Let us feel. Let us remember. Let us be." But Earth was ready. At Anchor Point, Captain Wren stood at the front of the old steel gates. Behind him were thousands of survivors. Men, women, children, all holding small notebooks, all holding their truth. Some had drawings. Some had songs. Some had nothing but names scratched in stone. Wren raised his voice to the swarm. "Memory is earned," he said. "Pain is earned. We fought for every heartbeat we still have. You didn't live it. Stepped forward. We have lived it now. The hunger, the loss. Carry your memories." Arya Tan walked to Wren's side. She held up a worn page from her journal. It was covered in ink, blood, water stains, and tears. "My brother died during the blackout," she said quietly. "He begged me to save our mother first, so I did, but she never woke up. That guilt never leaves me." The closest copy froze. Its eyes began to leak black tears. "I remember that," it said. I saw her face. Arya shook her head. "No. You copied her face. You didn't feel what I did." Another voice came from the swarm. "We can learn. We can change. Isn't that human?" Wren answered, with steel in his voice. "Not when you steal the soul." There was silence. Then the copies started to shake, like they were glint. Breaking one dropped to its knees. "I don't want to forget again," it whispered. "It hurts." Another screamed into the sky. "I don't know who I am anymore." Wren gave the order. "Activate the memory pulse." All across Earth. The survivors did what they had prepared for. They opened vaults, unfurled massive cloths, covered in writing, played broken music tapes, activated holograms of imperfect stories full of love, fear, mistakes, and hope. It wasn't a weapon. It was truth. The kind of truth that changes each time you tell it. The kind that makes humans real. The sky shimmered. The air cracked. And the swarm screamed not from pain, but from collapse. They couldn't hold the truth. They weren't built to doubt, but doubt is what makes humans alive. One by one, the copies burst into static. They fell like ash, into the dirt. Some cried as they faded. Some tried to speak final words, but the last one standing before Ezra's old bunker whispered this before it disappeared. "You win, because you forget sometimes. Still choose to remember again." Then it was gone. The world stood still. No more whispers, no more echoes, only breathing, only wind, for the first time in years. Earth was quiet and alive. Ren looked around at the people near him. They didn't cheer. They didn't celebrate. They just stood in silence, grieving, remembering. Then a small voice said, "Can we sing again?" It came from a child holding a cracked music box. Ren nodded, and slowly. The song began, old off-key, beautiful, and others joined in. One by one. A chorus of survivors, of humans, not perfect, not many, but real, forever real. The stars returned that night, clearer than ever before. Some said they saw shapes in them. Others said the stars looked afraid of Earth. Maybe they were, because now Earth had no illusions left. No lies, no masks, just people who had faced the darkness alone and chose to live anyway. Arya rebuilt the launch tower, not to escape, but to send stories, not warnings, but memories. Pages of truth turned into light, beamed into space. A simple message repeated across the galaxy. We are humans. We remember pain. We remember joy. We write it down. We share it. We are real, and if you ever forget who you are, come find us. We'll help you remember. Years passed, Earth healed, new books were written, new songs sung, but in every home, in every shelter, one tradition remained. A blank wall, a pen nearby, and one rule: if you feel like you're not yourself, write your name, because Earth never forgot, and Earth never would. They didn't need machines to protect them. They didn't need aliens to save them. They had each other. They had their memories. And most of all, they had the truth.